intense chainsaw-to-the-juggler games of last year has made its way to the PC. Gears of War's triumphant attempt at third-person, small-squad duck-and-cover carnage was a direct hit, and a pretty one as well. So what happens when you throw many gigs of RAM, a mouse and keyboard, and a video card that could ransom a Duchess at it? The story of Gears remains the same. You play as Marcus Phoenix, a recently paroled and reinstated soldier, taking on the Locust menace that's been running over the planet for the last 14 years. Cutscenes pad out your fellow squaddies' MOs, and constant radio chatter between action keeps you in the loop as you dredge forward on a series of daring deeds and bloodshed. It's typical sci-fi action, with enough mythos just out of reach to give the struggle a veil of uncertainty. The new single-player segment, which takes place right before the final chapter, shows some of that Gears lore being fleshed out, with the hulking Brumac making the jump from cutscene to interactive horror show. The segment fits in with the story and doesn't seem tacked on or out of place. The core design choices remain intact. Each firefight is a pristine moment of all-out trench warfare where every bit of terrain and cover matters. Screwing up a reload can cost you your life, and a downed teammate can make the difference between a checkpoint reload or saving the day. The battle arenas are designed with quick tactics in mind, and even with the game's linear progression, there's still some exploring for discarded weapons, ammo, collectible cog tags, and even some moments where the game lets you pick one of two divergent paths, though they all meet up at the same place. The occasional boss battle requires some thinking outside the shotgun, demanding certain weapons or tactics. There's a handful of other diversions, but it ultimately boils down to keeping the higher ground, your ammo stocked, and your head down. It's great, and made greater by playing with a friend over Games for Windows Live for a co-op outing. Multiplayer is a team affair, taking up either the COGS cause or the jingoistic Locust rabble. Modes have their own names, but it's basically team deathmatch with some variations and a few King of the Hill modes. The new mode for PC is actually called King of the Hill, and changes things up by keeping the hill at a set location for the entire match, which falls in line with the game's defensive style. A few new multiplayer maps get thrown in, which are good, but nothing special, as well as all the downloadable content that was on Xbox Live. PC players may be surprised that they have to buy a Gold Games for Windows Live account in order to reap the full benefits of online achievements and skill-based matchmaking, though they can still jib out online for free. Despite all the exploding torsos, playing Gears is a thoughtful game, and not as fast as its first-person siblings. The mouse and keyboard combo, usually thought of as the real-world BFG 9000 for shooters, doesn't really give much of an edge this time around. Whirling the camera around is more disorienting than helpful, and the effects of precision aiming aren't really felt with the game's large reticule. That is until you use the sniper rifle, making it even more powerful. It's not game-breaking or anything, but you may find yourself holding on to it longer than usual, with less missed shots equaling much more munitions. And honestly, who doesn't love headshots? The game supports the Xbox 360 wired controller with the touch of a button, and plays great with it, but chances are you already have Gears on the 360 if you have a controller, and getting a pad will run you the same cost as the actual game. Regardless of control, Gears still feels fresh, and its cover system is still the best thing going, even with many new games trying to ape it. The new area fits well into the story, and gives you a couple of goes at the towering Brumac, including a fun, if brainless, full-on assault, something not found in the other boss battles. The new section takes an hour or so to dominate, and is actually unlockable from the beginning if you want to check it out. It won't be anyone's favorite part of the game, but it does stand out. The new King of the Hill mode in multiplayer is decent, with the stationary hill giving the defense a place to lay down roots, though a well-tossed grenade makes for an instant wildcard. This port was handled by Polish developer People Can Fly, now a subsidiary of Epic Games, who've made their name in the past with the Painkiller series. The Unreal Engine can look like sex on the PC, but it's not a balanced affair. Even on a fresh Vista box, well exceeding the benchmarks of a recommended system, things can get very jumpy. Multiplayer has the least hitches, while the in-engine cutscene can play like slideshows, with single player hanging somewhere in the middle. There are also a number of odd bugs, like graphics not disappearing, constant game crashing, and players being flung into trees they can't seem to get down from without the help of an untimely death. But this is the way of the PC. Gears might look like sex, but you may want to kick it out of bed in the morning. So, it may play better with a 360 controller, it may work out, and the new stuff may be good but not great, but it's still one of the most solid PC games of the year, with a great single-player game that can even be played cooperatively, and fantastic team-based multiplayer that's just a few notches below Team Fortress. If you think your PC won't asphyxiate on Marcus's bloody outing, and you missed out on the Xbox 360 craze, go ahead and jump in, rev up a chainsaw, and save the world.
You